Hi viewers, welcome to my Opensearch series. So this is the first video of this series, and in this video I'll be covering two things. One is how you can run a single node Opensearch cluster on your local machine, and then we'll see how we can write some Java code to connect to the Opensearch cluster using the Java HighLevel REST client over HTTPS. So this over HTTPS requires some more configuration apart from the code itself. So we'll go through all of that. So let's get started. So we'll use Docker to run the OpenSearch container. So first, let's get the image. We'll use the Docker pull command to get the image. So I should already have the image, which is why it did not download anything. So we'll quickly verify that we are not running. We are not already running the cluster, the container. So no, we are not running any container. So let's copy the Docker run command to get the container running, the OpenSearch container running. So we are passing, this is the image, which is what we just downloaded. And then we need to pass it admin password. So this is the admin password. I have it in my environment. So this has to be a strong password. So you can use any password generator to create this password, because if you are using a weak password, the Docker run will fail. The container will not start up because the password validation will fail. It will say that it's a weak password and the container will not start up. So you can use any password generator application to generate that password. So let us run this. So it looks like the Docker is running. We'll just see container ls. Yes, our cluster is up and running. So let's use curl to connect to the cluster and see what version of OpenSearch we are running. We should be running 2.13.0. So we'll connect to it. So here you can see that we are running OpenSearch 2.13.0. So this cluster name is Docker cluster. OpenSearch 2.13.0 is what we are running. So here you can see that the curl command, we have given two options, minus K and U. So the U refers to the username and the password. So the username is both of which we have configured in our environment. So we're using the environment variables here. You need to either, yeah, you can also configure it as environment variables, or you can directly give it the username and the password. So the password needs to be the same, which we had provided here while running the container. So yes, this is fine. So, and the minus K option, so the minus K option is to tell curl that you don't need to validate the certificate that you are getting. So this is essentially an insecure connection, because whatever certificate, SSL certificate that we are getting from OpenSearch, we are asking curl, don't do the validation, because this is a self-signed certificate and it will fail. The validation will fail. So we'll see. So if I omit the K option, you'll see that there'll be an SSL error. So here you can see there's an SSL error. So that's fine. So we'll see how we can fix this. So how we can do a secure connection. And we'll be using Java to connect to the cluster using SSL certificate validation. So let's see how we'll do it. So let's first quickly also check that actually we have already seen that we have done a Docker container ls to see that the container is running. So that is done. Okay. So yeah, don't stop the cluster. So this will stop the Docker stop command I've just given to show that how you can stop the cluster, but you don't need to do it at this point. So next, what we'll see is, let's go to the code. So I have the code in GitHub, so you can check it out. SRC in Java. So I have checked it out. So I'll open it locally. So there are two classes. So first we'll go through build.gradle. So in build.gradle, you have to put in dependencies the OpenSearch REST high-level client, and the version is 2.13.0. So this is a dependency that we need because we'll be using this library. So let's look at the main class. The main class, it is getting a high-level REST client instance in a try with block. And why you're using a try with block? So that at the end, once the try with block ends, so it will automatically close the connection. Okay, close the client. So once we have the high-level REST client instance, we'll create a cluster health request instance, and and we'll make the request and we'll get back a cluster health response object, and I'm just printing it out, nothing more. So let's go to the client provider. So here we'll see that the new high-level REST client. So first, it is setting up the Java properties to put a trust store. So this is a custom trust store that we'll be creating, and this is the password to the trust store. So once we have given Java the trust store, which trust store to use for validating the certificate that it receives from Opensearch. So after that, we have to provide the username and the password. So here again, all of these I have set it up in as environment variables. So you can do the same, or you can hard code it here. Both are fine. So hard coding is never a good option, never the recommended option actually. So yeah, so I'll give it the username and the password, the admin username and the password for basic auth. And then I create the builder object. So here I need to provide the host name, the port on which to connect, and the scheme. So the scheme we'll be giving is HTTPS because we want to do a secure connection using SSL encryption. And then finally, we create the REST high-level client. We give it the builder. So the code is there. So let's run the code and see what happens. So it fails with SSL handshake exception. Why is that? Because the trust store that I had provided it. So let's see what is the trust store. So this file does not exist. So because this file does not exist, it does not know how to verify the certificate it is getting from Opensearch. So let us create the trust store first. So we can use the key tool program to create a trust store. So this is the command to create the trust store. So we'll create it here. Actually, we'll create it uh, in a separate directory. So we have created a global resources directory where we'll create the trust store. So first we'll see that this directory currently is empty. So we'll create the trust store, alias client, key algo is RSA, client key store is fine. So it asks me for a password. Okay. So this is a questionnaire that you need to fill up. Is it correct? Yes. So the trust store is created now. So let's run the application again and see what happens. Again, we have SSL handshake exception. Why is that? Because the trust store is empty. So when it tries to validate the certificate against the trust store is empty. So the validation obviously fails. So what do we need to do to fix that? We need to copy the certificate that we have in Opensearch cluster, which our Opensearch cluster is using, and we need to add it to the trust store. So first we need to copy the certificate over from Opensearch. So we'll use Docker CP to copy it over. So first we need to know the container ID. So we have the container ID. And then we need to give the location where it is present. So you can exec into the Docker container and see for yourself where it is, but I already know the location. So I don't have to exec into the container to verify. So this is the location, and I'll copy it in this directory itself where we have created the trust store. And the name of the file I'm giving is opensearch root.ca.pem. Okay, successfully copied. So the file should be here. Once we have copied the file, we need to add it to the trust store. So we'll again use the key tool command to add it to the trust store. So what does it expect? So it expects the key store. So the trust store This is the trust root that we had created. What is the certificate file? So, and an alias. So let's just call it Opensearch. And it asks for the password. So trust this certificate? Yes. Okay. So we are set. Now let's go back to the application directory and try to run. So fingers crossed, this should run successfully now. Yeah, it does. So here we are printing the cluster health response. We'll just quickly see what the response is. We can put it in JSON lint. So the cluster name is Docker cluster, which was our cluster. Status is yellow. Okay, whatever. And number of nodes is 1. Number of data nodes 1. That's all fine. Okay. So we have successfully connected to the cluster. That was our objective. So that concludes the video. Thank you. Hopefully you found this video informative. If you did, please smash the like button.